Have you ever worked for a boss who seemed to thrive on putting you down? You know the type. 1 minute they're praising you, the next they're tearing you apart for a tiny mistake. It's a roller coaster that can leave you feeling drained and full of self-doubt. I've been there, and I want to share something that completely changed how I handled it. The ancient Stoic practice of not taking things personally. A few years ago, I had a boss who was a classic narcissist. Every meeting was a minefield. His moods were unpredictable. He'd use backhanded compliments and public criticism to keep everyone on edge. I used to internalize everything. If he criticized my work, I'd spend the entire weekend replaying it in my head, convinced I was a failure. My anxiety was through the roof, and my confidence was at an all-time low. I was letting his words define my reality and my self-worth. One day, I stumbled upon the teachings of the Stoic philosophers, guys like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Their core message was surprisingly simple. We don't control what happens to us, but we have absolute control over how we respond. Epictetus famously said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." This was a light bulb moment for me. I realized my boss's insults weren't really about me or my work. They were a reflection of his own insecurities, his need for control, and his fragile ego. His criticisms were his problem, not mine. My mistake was accepting his judgments as truth. I was giving him the power to define my value. So I decided to run an experiment. I started treating my boss's comments like a scientist observing data. When he'd make a snide remark, instead of getting defensive or upset, I'd mentally step back. I'd ask myself, is there any useful feedback here, or is this just noise? Is this about improving the project, or is this about him asserting his dominance? The first time I tried this was during a team presentation. We'd worked on it for weeks. After I finished, he publicly nitpicked a single, insignificant slide, saying, "I guess some people just don't have an eye for detail." The old me would have shrunk, but the new me thought, okay, that's his opinion. It's meant to embarrass me. Is the feedback useful? No, it's just noise. I simply replied, "Thank you for the feedback. I'll keep that in mind," and moved on. I didn't let it ruin my day. I didn't let it make me question my abilities. Over time, this became my shield. I created a mental filter. When he spoke, I'd sort his words into two buckets: constructive feedback or emotional baggage. Most of it, I found, landed in the second bucket. His insults started to lose their sting. They became predictable, almost boring. It was like watching a bad actor read the same lines over and over. I was no longer a participant in his drama. I was just an observer. This didn't mean I became a doormat. It actually empowered me. Because I wasn't emotionally tangled in his negativity, I could respond calmly and professionally. If he gave a vague, insulting critique, I'd ask for specifics. Can you show me exactly what you mean so I can improve it? This often disarmed him because his goal wasn't to help me improve, it was to exert power. When I responded with rational calm, his tools stopped working. This shift didn't just help me survive, it helped me thrive. My work actually got better because I was no longer crippled by anxiety. I could focus my energy on the task at hand, not on managing his ego. My colleagues even started noticing the change and asked me how I stayed so calm. The most important lesson I learned is that your self-worth should never be outsourced. It shouldn't be in the hands of your boss, your colleagues, or anyone else. It's yours, and yours alone. When someone insults you, they are giving you their opinion, their judgment. You don't have to accept it. You can look at it, evaluate it, and decide if it has any value. If it doesn't, you can simply let it go. This isn't about ignoring genuine feedback. It's about learning to distinguish between what S meant to help you grow and what S meant to tear you down. Narcissistic behavior is a game of emotional manipulation. The only way to win is to refuse to play. You do that by building your own internal validation, your own sense of worth that is immune to external attacks. It's a superpower, and it's one you can start developing today.